Peppa and the Great Vacation. Peppa Pig and George are packing to go on vacation. You can't bring everything, says Daddy Pig.
But we need all our toys,
says Peppa. Just your favourites, says Daddy Pig. Peppa brings Teddy. George brings his dinosaur.
Dinosaur, arr,
says George.
Can Goldie come too?
asks Peppa. Sorry, Peppa, Goldie can't join us, but Granny Pig and Grandpa Pig will look after her. The car is packed and the family is on the road.
When will we get there?
calls Peppa from the back seat. Daddy Pig tells Peppa that they have a long drive.
I miss Goldie,
says Peppa.
Do you think she's all right?
I think so, says Mummy Pig. Peppa calls Grandpa Pig just to make sure. At the vacation house, Mummy Pig unpacks her suitcase. She brought a lot of things.
Daddy, you found the pool,
calls Peppa. Yes, says Daddy Pig. I did. Mummy Pig goes shopping in town. Peppa and George want to have pizza for lunch. Mummy Pig has found some presents for Granny Pig and Grandpa Pig. That won't all fit in your suitcase, says Daddy Pig.
I want to get something too,
says Peppa. I hope it's small, says Daddy Pig.
It is,
says Peppa.
It's a postcard and it doesn't have to go in a suitcase. It will go in the mail.
The next day, Peppa and her family go on a nature walk. Daddy Pig has packed a big picnic lunch.
There's nothing but trees,
says Peppa. Look around, Peppa, says Mummy Pig. There is lots to see here. Peppa looks around.
Tracks,
she says.
I see tracks. Dinosaur?
asks George.
No, George, not dinosaur tracks,
says Peppa. The tracks come to an end. Peppa gets Daddy Pig's binoculars and looks up.
I see birds, a mother and babies in a nest.
Peppa likes looking through the binoculars. Next she looks down.
I see ants,
she says.
They're carrying leaves for lunch and salad. Yuck,
says George. Peppa is hungry. So are Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig and George. Time for a nice picnic lunch. Peppa can't wait to tell Granny Pig and Grandpa Pig what a nice day they had on the nature walk. That evening, Peppa calls Grandpa Pig. He promises to tell Goldie that Peppa misses her and that she will soon be home.
We're taking good care of her,
he says. The next day, Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig take Peppa and George to the beach. It's a sandy beach with lots of rocks. Peppa finds a shell. George finds a fossil. Daddy Pig finds a crab.
There's a tide pool,
says Peppa. Peppa and George look into the tiny pool. There are small plants.
There's a gold coin,
says Peppa.
Ew,
says George. Something is making bubbles. What could it be?
A fish,
says Peppa.
Hello, fish. You would love my fish, Goldie.
Vacation is nearly over. Time to pack the suitcases and get back in the car. It's a long drive home. but Peppa has Teddy to keep her company in the backseat. She has George too. It has been a great vacation, but she can't wait to see Goldie. Mummy Pig gives Granny Pig her present. Peppa runs to see Goldie.
Oh, you've grown,
She says.
a lot.
She seemed hungry, says Grandpa Pig. Mr. Zebra arrives. I have a postcard all the way from the beach, he says.
Look, Goldie, says Peppa, you've got mail, something from our great vacation.
The end. Peppa at the beach. Peppa and her family are on holiday at Kylie Kangaroo's house. Today we're going to the beach, says Mr. Kangaroo.
Yippee, cries Peppa. I love the beach.
Mummy Pig helps the children put on their sun cream and life vests. Kylie gets out her surfboard.
What do you do with that?
asks Peppa.
You lie on the board and the waves push you along,
Sighs Kylie.
come and see.
Kylie shows Peppa how to surf.
The tricky bit is catching the wave,
She says.
Ready, steady, now.
Peppa and Kylie jump on their surfboards just in time. The wave carries them along.
I can surf,
Laughs Peppa. George wants to go surfing, but the waves are getting too big. Is it time to go home now? Wonders Daddy Pig. Are you kidding? Says Mr. Kangaroo. These big waves are perfect for grown-ups. Mr. and Mrs. Kangaroo grab their surfboards. George and Daddy Pig are having a lovely time in the water. Crikey, gasps Mr. Kangaroo. There's a giant wave coming. Everyone on the beach shouts and waves at Daddy Pig, but he can't hear what they're saying. Ho, ho, ho. He chuckles. The giant wave gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It picks Daddy Pig up and carries him along. Whoa! George giggles, then holds out his arms. He is using Daddy Pig's tummy as a surfboard. George rides the wave all the way back to the beach. Hooray! What great balance, says Mr. Kangaroo.
He's a natural surfer,
Agrees Mrs. Kangaroo. Peppa and Kylie giggle.
George is the best.
The end. Peppa Pig Strawberries. Grandpa Pig is showing Peppa and George the strawberry he has grown.
Why is it hiding in a little house, Grandpa?
Asked Peppa.
Because the cheeky birds have eaten the rest of my strawberries, and I need to protect this last one,
says Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig tells Peppa that they can still eat strawberries. He knows the perfect place to go.
Everybody in the car, he says. It's time to visit the strawberry farm. Have you come to pick strawberries?
asks Miss Rabbit when they arrive.
Yes, please, Miss Rabbit,
says Peppa excitedly.
Then you've come to the right place. We've got nothing but strawberries,
says Miss Rabbit.
Pick as many as you like.
Miss Rabbit takes Peppa, George, Granny Pig and Grandpa Pig out to the strawberry fields and gives them each a basket to put their strawberries in.
Wow,
gasps Peppa.
There are so many strawberries.
Pedro Pony and his family are at the strawberry farm too.
Hello, Pedro,
cries Peppa.
Have you picked a lot of strawberries? Yes,
replies Pedro.
But my mummy and daddy keep eating them.
Mr. and Mrs. Pony sigh. They have eaten too many strawberries. Peppa and George giggle. They love skipping along, picking strawberries and putting them in their baskets.
I must say, these strawberries do look lovely,
says Granny Pig.
The real test is to see if the strawberries taste any good,
says Grandpa Pig, picking up a big juicy strawberry and biting into it.
Actually, that is rather good.
Granny Pig eats a strawberry too.
Scrumptious.
Granny and Grandpa Pig eat lots of strawberries. Peppa and George are very good at picking strawberries and have nearly filled up their baskets. Peppa sings a song as they pick up the strawberries.
Strawberry, strawberry, juicy, red and sweet. Strawberry, strawberry, they're so nice to eat.
Peppa and George's baskets are full of strawberries, but Granny and Grandpa Pig's baskets are empty.
Granny, Grandpa, where are your strawberries?
asks Peppa.
In our tummies,
replies Grandpa Pig.
Maybe it's time to go home,
says Granny Pig, rubbing her tummy. Danny Dog and his family has just arrived at the farm, ready to pick some strawberries.
Wow, look at all these lovely strawberries,
says Captain Dog.
Don't say that word,
groans Grandpa Pig, holding his tummy. Granny and Grandpa Pig have eaten too many strawberries.
Thank you for all the strawberries, Miss Rabbit,
says Peppa.
Now we can go home and make strawberry jam for everyone.
Say Granny and Grandpa Pig.
Maybe we'll do that tomorrow, Peppa.
Peppa and George love strawberries. Everyone loves strawberries. Peppa Pig, the fancy dress party. Peppa and George are having a fancy dress party. All their friends are invited. Peppa is dressed as a fairy princess and George is a dinosaur. All the guests are arriving. Rebecca Rabbit is dressed as a carrot and Susie Sheep has come as a nurse. Hello, Susie, says Daddy Pig. Have you just come from the hospital?
I'm not a real nurse,
says Susie Sheep.
It's just pretend. Hello, Susie,
says Peppa.
I'm Princess Peppa. You must bow when you speak to me.
Susie Sheep bows.
Woof, woof. I'm a pirate. Shiver me timbers,
says Danny Dog.
I'm a clown,
says Pedro, tooting his horn.
Rebecca, why are you dressed as a carrot?
Danny asks.
Because I like carrots,
says Rebecca. George does his best dinosaur roar and scares everybody. Peppa is playing by herself. She pretends the mirror is magic.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? You are Peppa,
she giggles. It's time to judge the fancy dress competition. As it's Peppa's party, says Daddy Pig, she can be the judge and decide who has the best costume. The guests show off their outfits.
I'm a pirate, shiver me timbers,
says Danny Dog.
I'm a nurse who makes people better,
says Susie Sheep. Candy Cat waves her wand at Peppa.
I'm a witch and I can turn you into a frog,
she says.
Meow. Well, I'm a fairy princess and I can turn you into a frog,
cries Peppa. It is time to announce the winner.
Everyone's costume is very good,
says Peppa.
but the winner is me.
Peppa, you can't pick yourself. You're the judge, whispers Mummy Pig.
Oh, can't I?
asks Peppa. You have to pick another winner, Mummy Pig says quietly.
Okay, the carrot wins,
says Peppa. Hooray! Rebecca Rabbit has won the fancy dress competition.
Thank you,
Rebecca says. Peppa loves fancy dress parties. Everyone loves fancy dress parties. The end. Peppa's best birthday party. It was Mandy Mouse's birthday, and she was having her party at Cheese World.
Wow. What is Cheese World, Mandy?
asked Peppa.
It's the most fun place ever,
replied Mandy.
There's a cheese river and a cheese mountain, and best of all, there's a cheese castle.
Wow! Everyone gasped. When they arrived for the party, Mummy Mouse took Mandy and her friends to a huge cheese-shaped arch.
Welcome to Cheese World,
announced Miss Rabbit.
Have any of you been here before? I have,
cried Mandy.
It's amazing. Wow.
Oh, hello, Mandy, said Miss Rabbit.
Nice to see you again.
Everyone followed Miss Rabbit past some cheese trees and cheese bushes.
So, said Miss Rabbit, everything at Cheese World is about cheese,
cheered Mandy.
That's right,
said Miss Rabbit.
And we'll start by sailing on the river of cheese.
Mandy cheered again. When they got to the cheese river, 2 little cheese boats were waiting.
All aboard,
called Mandy. And hold tight, added Miss Rabbit, as the boats bobbed along.
Miss Rabbit,
said Peppa,
are these boats made of real cheese?
No, Peppa, replied Miss Rabbit.
They are made from pretend cheese.
Oh, said Peppa.
We are now entering Cheese Mountain,
said Miss Rabbit as they sailed inside a cave.
Is it made of real cheese?
asked Peppa.
No, replied Miss Rabbit. But this is what it would be like to sail through a cheese mountain.
Wow!
Ooh! Cried Mandy and her friends. If cheese mountains existed, finished Miss Rabbit.
After the boat ride, Mr. Rabbit showed the group his cheese aeroplane ride. Mandy explained what to do.
If you pull the lever, the plane goes up,
She said,
and if you push the lever, the plane goes down.
Once the children were safely in their airplanes, Mr. Rabbit started the ride. Up, up and away, he cried.
This is brilliant,
Said Molly Mole.
Look, there's a sun made of cheese.
Mandy called.
And the clouds are cottage cheese,
Gasped Susie.
I can see the whole world, said Peppa. It's all cheese.
Was that fun? Asked Mummy Mouse once the children finished flying.
Yes!
Everyone cheered happily.
I told you Cheese World is the most fun place ever,
Cried Mandy. Next, it was time to visit the Castle of Cheese. Hello, Mandy, said Grampy Rabbit when they arrived at the entrance. Have you told your friends about my Castle of Cheese?
I told them it was the best bit,
said Mandy. It is, said Grampy Rabbit. It's where we get to smell real cheese. No pretend cheese here. Once they were inside, Grampy Rabbit said, Let's start by smelling a mild cheese. Molly and Pedro Pony both took a good sniff. Said Molly.
This smells nice. I like it too,
Said Pedro. Grampy Rabbit sniffed the cheese, but he didn't think it had any smell at all. Now for something a little bit stronger, said Grampy Rabbit, taking the cover off a second piece of cheese. He took a big sniff. That's more like it, he said. A stinky one. Pedro sniffed the cheese. He cried.
It smells like my daddy's socks.
And now, said Grampy Rabbit, it's time for the strongest cheese in the whole world. Grampy Rabbit carefully lifted the cover off the third cheese and took a huge sniff. Now that's what I call cheese, he said. Next it was Mandy's turn to smell the super strong cheese.
It's the nicest smell I've ever smelled,
She said. You love smelling cheese, don't you, Mandy? Said Mummy Mouse.
Yes,
Cried Mandy.
but I love eating it even more.
Funny you should say that, said Mummy Mouse. Mummy Mouse brought out a cake covered in candles.
Wow!
It's birthday cake time, she said.
Cheesecake,
Gasped Mandy.
my favourite.
Hooray! Everyone cheered.
This is the best birthday ever.
Cried Mandy.
And this is the best birthday party ever.
Said Peppa.
Happy birthday, Mandy.
The end. Peppa's Pizza Party. It is lunchtime at Peppa's house.
Can we make pizzas?
Peppa asks. George loves pizza. So do Mummy and Daddy Pig. Peppa is excited to start. But first, everyone must wash their hands. They use soap and water to get all clean. When they are done washing, they gather ingredients. To make our pizzas, says Daddy Pig, we need flour, tomato, chimes in Mummy Pig, cheese, continues Daddy Pig, and toppings. But wait, there's something missing.
George likes pineapple on his pizza,
Peppa says. Pineapple? Daddy Pig repeats. On pizza? I think that's against the law. Peppa laughs. Daddy Pig is being silly. It is not against the law to put pineapple on pizza. Mummy Pig sprinkles a little flour on the table so that the dough doesn't stick. Then, with their clean hands, Peppa and George knead the dough. Bam, bam, bam!
I am big and strong,
Peppa says.
and George is big and strong too.
Next, they make the dough into 4 balls. These will become 4 pizza pies. Mummy Pig rolls the dough balls flat with her rolling pin.
Oh,
Says Peppa.
they look like pizzas now.
Mummy and Daddy Pig make a sauce with the tomatoes. Then Peppa and George smooth it over the dough.
I like making pizza.
Peppa says.
It's so fun.
Now it is time to decorate the pizzas.
Can we make happy faces on top?
Peppa asked. Of course we can, replies Daddy Pig. I'll use mushrooms to make eyes and olives for the smile. And I'll use onions for the eyes and basil for the smile, says Mummy Pig. Peppa uses sweet corn for the smile and little tomatoes for the eyes. George has pineapple for the eyes and cheese for the smile. Mummy Pig puts on her oven mitts. Then she places the pizzas in the oven to bake. When the pizzas are done, Peppa, George, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig eat in the garden. Their pizzas are very good.
These are the best pizzas in the world,
says Peppa. Peppa loves pizza. Everyone loves pizza. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Pumpkin Party. It is a lovely autumn day, and Peppa and George are getting ready for their Halloween party. First, they scoop out a pumpkin to make a lantern. Then Mummy Pig fixes a candle inside and lights it.
Ooh, lovely,
sighs Peppa. Mummy and Daddy Pig help Peppa and George put on their costumes. Peppa is a witch and George is a dinosaur. Peppa cackles. Very witchy, says Mummy Pig.
Dinosaur! Arr!
Growls George. Peppa and George's friends have arrived. Everyone is wearing a spooky Halloween costume. Suddenly, they hear a howl.
Oh! What was that?
Asked Peppa.
Only me,
Laughs Danny Dog.
I'm a werewolf.
Peppa notices that Emily Elephant has a green face.
What are you, Emily?
She asks.
I'm an alien. Blub, blub, blub.
She replies, laughing.
And Edmund is a ghost. Actually, I'm a paranormal apparition,
Corrects Edmund.
That's a clever clog's ghost.
Daddy Pig appears at the door. Welcome to the party, everyone, he booms. Come and have some pumpkin pie. Inside, the house is decorated with balloons, cobwebs, and hanging toy bats. Even Madame Gazelle has come to the Halloween party.
Hello, says Susie Sheep. I've come as a vampire.
A vampire, sighs Madame Gazelle. That reminds me of home. How strange. Madame Gazelle doesn't seem to have a reflection in the mirror. Daddy Pig puts on some music for everyone to dance to.
I love pumpkin parties,
Peppa shouts.
I love dressing up,
says Susie Sheep. And everyone loves pumpkin pie, says Daddy Pig. The Peppa Pig. Peppa meets Kylie Kangaroo. It is a lovely sunny day, and Mr. and Mrs. Kangaroo have come to visit Mummy and Daddy Pig. "G'day, Mr. Pig," says Mr. Kangaroo. "We met at the airport a while ago, and you said we could visit, remember?" "Did I?" replies Daddy Pig, a bit confused. "We didn't have Kylie or Joey back then," adds Mrs. Kangaroo. "Say hello, kids."
Hello, I'm Kylie Kangaroo,
says Kylie.
I'm Peppa Pig,
Snorts Peppa.
and this is my little brother George. This is my little brother Joey,
says Kylie, pointing at Mrs. Kangaroo. Joey lives in Mrs. Kangaroo's pocket. He peeks his head out and surprises everyone. Laugh Peppa and George. Mr. Kangaroo asks Daddy Pig if he's hungry. "I'm always hungry," replies Daddy Pig, rubbing his belly. "No worries," says Mr. Kangaroo, getting out the barbecue. "We'll make lunch for everyone." "Do you like corn on the cob?" asks Mrs. Kangaroo. "Yummy," say Mummy and Daddy Pig. "Let's hope it doesn't rain," says Daddy Pig. "It always rains when we have a barbecue." While lunch is cooking, Peppa and George want to jump up and down in muddy puddles, but they can't find any.
We can still do jumping, says Peppa. What's this?
Peppa jumps as high as she can.
Now you try, Kylie,
she says. Kylie jumps high into the air.
I like jumping too,
she says.
Whee!
Wow! Gasp Peppa and George, amazed. Kangaroos can jump very high.
We're playing jumping,
says Peppa when Rebecca Rabbit arrives.
What's this?
Squeaks Rebecca, jumping as high as she can. Peppa asks Kylie to show Rebecca how high she can jump.
Wow!
Gasped Rebecca, watching Kylie spring up into the air. Pedro Pony bounces into the garden on his space hopper.
Kylie can jump higher than that,
says Peppa.
Show him, Kylie.
Wow! Gasped Pedro, watching Kylie leap up into the air. Kylie is the best at jumping because she's a kangaroo. Food's ready, calls Mr. Kangaroo. But just as they are about to eat, it starts to rain. Oh dear, sighs Daddy Pig. No worries, says Mr. Kangaroo, putting up a huge umbrella. The rain makes eating outside more fun. After they finish their corn, the rain stops and the sun comes out again.
The rain makes lots of muddy puddles too,
says Peppa, jumping up and down.
Wow,
Gasped Kylie.
That looks really fun. Can we try it as well?
Everyone joins Peppa, and they all make a giant muddy puddle.
I'm the best at jumping because I'm a kangaroo, says Kylie. But Peppa is the best at jumping up and down in muddy puddles.
The end. Peppa Pig, Australian fun. Peppa loves exploring Australia. Let's go to the beach, she says. Mr. Kangaroo drives everyone there in his camper van.
The sand is rough and scratchy,
says Kylie Kangaroo. Let's go! At the beach, the children can't wait to get in the water.
Come on, Peppa,
cries Kylie.
let's go surfing.
Peppa giggles.
The waves are big and bumpy.
Woohoo! Peppa loves the animals in Australia.
Look,
says Peppa.
I found a teddy bear.
That's a koala, says Mummy Pig. Its fur is fluffy and soft. Peppa enjoys playing with boomerangs.
Wow.
When she throws one in the air, it comes right back to her.
My boomerang works like magic,
shouts Peppa.
It is smooth and bendy.
Woo, 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 woo! Most of all, Peppa loves her friends in Australia.
I love your pink dress,
Peppa tells Kylie.
I love your red dress,
Kylie replies.
It is happy.
Peppa visits the Australian Botanical Gardens. Peppa had flown to Australia to visit her friend Kylie Kangaroo.
Wow.
Did you tell them we were coming? Asked Mummy Pig. No, I thought you did, said Daddy Pig, ringing the doorbell. Mr. Pig, said Mr. Kangaroo, opening the door. What an amazing surprise. You said we should visit if we were passing again, said Daddy Pig. Yeah, for sure, said Mr. Kangaroo. Kylie and Mrs. Kangaroo came to say hello. Joey Kangaroo popped his head out of Mrs. Kangaroo's pouch and waved his toy crocodile.
Crocodile,
he said.
Dinosaur.
George growled back. We were just going to the Botanical Gardens, said Mr. Kangaroo. Did you want to join us?
Yes, please,
cheered Peppa and her family. On the journey, Kylie told Peppa all about the Botanical Gardens.
There's a rock garden, a desert track, a rainforest dome, a nature reserve, and the best bit,
said Kylie. Why don't you leave the best bit as a surprise, said Mr. Kangaroo.
Okay, Daddy,
said Kylie.
You'll love the gardens, Peppa. They're wild.
Wow.
I can't wait, said Peppa. You don't need to, said Mrs. Kangaroo. We're here.
Hooray!
The first area to explore was a rock garden.
These rocks are so big,
gasped Peppa. I wish we had them at home.
Let's go across the wibbly-wobbly rope bridge, said Kylie.
Wibble wobble, wibble wobble, sang Peppa and Kylie as they skipped along the bridge. Joey crept towards Daddy Pig with a toy crocodile.
Stop!
shouted Joey. Ah! cried Daddy Pig. Don't worry, Daddy Pig. There aren't any crocodiles around, said Mr. Kangaroo. In this garden, at least. He looked over at Kylie and winked. At the other end of the wibbly-wobbly rope bridge was the Outback desert track.
Wow.
We have to hop along the track and find the gum tree, said Kylie.
But how do we know what the gum tree looks like? asked Peppa.
It has a shiny silver trunk,
explained Kylie.
and it's the only tree in the whole track.
Wow!
Ooh, said Peppa. Ready, steady, go, shouted Kylie. Peppa and Kylie ran across the desert track to the gum tree. It's a bit hot here, panted Daddy Pig. Well, we are in the desert, said Mummy Pig. Peppa loved the silver gum tree. It's so shiny, she said. I wish we had one at home. Is this a surprise, Kylie? No, said Kylie. I love the gum tree, but it's not the best bit. The next part of the gardens was inside a big glass dome.
Wow!
This is the rainforest dome, said Kylie. We have lots of rainforests in Australia. Wow! gasped Peppa, gazing up at the tall trees. Why is it called a rainforest? Because it's a forest, said Kylie. And it rains a lot. Ah, said Peppa. But it's not raining now. Let's push the big buttons and see what happens, said Kylie. Kylie and Peppa pushed the buttons and suddenly, pitter-patter, it started to rain. I love rainforest domes, said Peppa. I wish we had one at home. A room with warm rain, said Daddy Pig. We do need one at home. We have one, Daddy Pig, said Mummy Pig. It's called the shower. Is this the surprise, Kylie? asked Peppa. No, said Kylie. Rainforests are brilliant, but this isn't the best bit. Bring, bring. Suddenly, there was a loud bring. Oh dear, what was that? asked Mummy Pig. Don't worry, said Mrs. Kangaroo. That was a bellbird. Their calls can be a little alarming. Oh, I see, Mummy Pig shouted over the ringing. Is this a surprise, Kylie? asked Peppa. No, said Kylie. Bellbirds are great, but this isn't the best bit. Outside the rainforest dome was a nature reserve. This is a nice spot for lunch, said Mr. Kangaroo, whipping out a picnic. Mr. Duck-billed Platypus, gasped Peppa. So nice to see you again. She always finds us when we have a picnic, said Kylie. After the picnic, Peppa and Kylie looked up at the trees. Let's pretend we're possums running along the branches at night, said Kylie, showing Peppa how to run like a possum. Look, whispered Peppa, spotting something in a tree. What's that? It's a koala, Kylie whispered back.
Wow!
She looks sleepy because she sleeps most of the day, and when she's not sleeping, she's munching leaves. She's so cute, said Peppa. Is this the surprise, Kylie? No, said Kylie. Koalas are amazing, but they're not the best bit. Let's pretend to be koalas, said Peppa. Munch, munch, munch. I love koalas, said Peppa. I wish we had them at home. Come on, little ones, said Mrs. Kangaroo. It's time for... Yikes! cried Daddy Pig. A crocodile! It's not a real one, said Kylie. It's a crocodile slide, leading to the surprise. Ooh, said Peppa, climbing to the top of the slide. Then she slid down into a huge muddy puddle.
Wow!
This is the best bit, Peppa, yelled Kylie, landing in the mud. It's the best thing ever, cheered Peppa. After lots of slides down the crocodile into huge muddy puddle, it was time for everyone to go home. Did you like the gardens, Peppa? asked Kylie. Yes, said Peppa. I loved them, and the best bit was the surprise. Crocodile, growled George. He loved the crocodile. Australian gardens have everything, said Peppa. I wish we could bring them home with us. I don't think they would fit on the plane, Peppa, said Mummy Pig. We'll just have to come back and visit again, won't we? Said Daddy Pig. Yes, cheered Peppa and Kylie. Sure, said Mr. Kangaroo. Drop by any time. Hooray! Yeah, of course, said Mrs. Kangaroo. Any time. Peppa loves the Australian Botanical Gardens. Everyone loves the Australian Botanical Gardens. The end. Peppa's Australian Underwater Adventure. Peppa was very excited. She had just won a Great Barrier Reef art competition at the aquarium. Congrats, Peppa, said Miss Rabbit. Your prize is to join me on a marine biology trip to Australia.
Wow!
Hooray! Cheered Peppa. What's marine biology? It's learning about the plants and animals that live in the sea, explained Miss Rabbit. Ooh, said Peppa. We're going to stay with Mrs. Kangaroo, continued Miss Rabbit. She will teach us how to scuba dive in the Great Barrier Reef. What an amazing prize for a competition, said Mummy Pig, a bit surprised. Well, Peppa's drawing was very imaginative, said Miss Rabbit. Her picture wasn't exactly like any fish I have ever seen, but it was a prize-winning picture. I see, said Mummy Pig. There's nothing wrong with a bit of imagination, is there? Of course, you, Daddy Pig and George will be coming to Australia too, Miss Rabbit told Mummy Pig. How lovely, replied Mummy Pig. Thank you, Mrs. Rabbit. Peppa and her family are very excited to be seeing their friends in Australia again.
Hooray!
We'll be leaving first thing tomorrow, said Miss Rabbit. Right then, said Mummy Pig. We'd better head to the shops and get everything we need for the trip. Peppa, George, Mammy and Daddy Pig headed to Mr. Fox's shop and told him what they needed. Mr. Fox got everything out. Now, he said, I think you'll also need some paper and colouring pens. You never know when they might come in handy. I'm not sure we do, began Mummy Pig. Trust me, Mummy Pig, Mr. Fox interrupted. You'll definitely need these. Oh, okay then, said Mummy Pig. Thank you for your help, Mr. Fox. We must get going now so we can pack all of this. The next morning, Peppa and her family woke up very early and hopped on the aeroplane to Australia. Where's Miss Rabbit? Asked Daddy Pig. I think she's finding her own way there, replied Mummy Pig. While Peppa, George, Mammy and Daddy Pig flew on an aeroplane, Miss Rabbit travelled to Australia by hot air balloon, helicopter and boat. Ahoy there! Amazingly, Miss Rabbit arrived in Australia at the exact same time as Peppa and her family. Welcome to Australia, everyone, said Miss Kangaroo. It's so good to see you, said Kylie Kangaroo, giving Peppa a big hug. After they were settled in, Mrs. Kangaroo went through the diving plan with Kylie, Peppa and Miss Rabbit. There are so many amazing creatures to discover in the Great Barrier Reef, she explained. It's an incredible place. Mrs. Kangaroo taught Peppa about diving and marine biology.
Wow!
What does buddy up mean? Asked Peppa. It means We are going to dive in a group, explained Miss Kangaroo. She held up a list of creatures they were going to see and count on their underwater adventure. Green sea turtles, orange clownfish, blue starfish, pink sea anemones, and even whales. Wow! Gasped Peppa. She was so excited. Mrs. Kangaroo drove everyone to the boat. Then they hopped on board with their diving gear and headed out to the diving site. When the boat stopped, Mrs. Kangaroo gave Peppa and Kylie a special underwater list each. It's important that we count the marine life carefully, she said. If you spot anything unusual, let me know. Then Peppa, Miss Rabbit, Kylie and Mrs. Kangaroo jumped backwards off the boat. They dived deep down under the water to the reef. The divers saw lots of amazing plants and animals on the reef. They spotted 5 orange clownfish, 4 pink sea anemones, 3 brilliant blue starfish, 2 big green turtles, and 1 enormous whale. Wow! Said Peppa. It's so colourful down here. Peppa and Miss Rabbit followed the whale further into the reef. Peppa used her diving fins to swim as fast as she could to keep up, and Miss Rabbit paddled along behind her. The whale pointed its fin at a big rock. Peppa peered behind the rock and saw a fish that wasn't on Mrs. Kangaroo's list, poking its head out. That looks just like the fish I coloured in, said Peppa. At the end of the dive, everyone climbed back on board the boat. We counted so many creatures, said Peppa excitedly. It was amazing. I also spotted a beautiful fish that wasn't on your list, Miss Kangaroo. What did it look like, Peppa? Asked Kylie. It looked a bit like a clownfish, said Peppa, but not exactly. Said Mrs. Kangaroo. Can you describe it a bit more, Peppa? Peppa used the colouring pens from Mr. Fox's shop to draw the fish she had seen. It looked just like her picture from the aquarium. Wow, that's a lovely fish, Peppa, said Kylie. Peppa is very good at drawing, said Miss Rabbit. I don't believe it, gasped Mrs. Kangaroo when she saw Peppa's drawing. It looks just like a rare blue clownfish. Wow! That hasn't been seen for a while now. Where did you spot it, Peppa? Peppa took everyone back to where she had seen the unusual fish. Mrs. Kangaroo had been searching for the blue clownfish for a long time. Peppa spotted the whale winking at her in the distance. Thank you for showing us the fish, lovely whale, Peppa said, winking back. After Mrs. Kangaroo had taken lots of photographs of the fish, she signalled for everyone to swim up to the boat and head back to the shore. That afternoon, Mrs. Kangaroo and her family cooked a big meal to celebrate Peppa's amazing discovery. What do you think of the Great Barrier Reef, Peppa? Asked Daddy Pig. It's the most brilliant place ever, replied Peppa. The fish are just like I imagined they would be. She held up her picture from the art competition. It looked exactly like the fish she had seen on her dive. Everyone laughed. Peppa loves the beautiful Great Barrier Reef. Everyone loves the beautiful Great Barrier Reef.
Peppa Pig. Peppa visits the Outback. Peppa has come to visit Kylie Kangaroo. Daddy Pig rings the bell. Mr. Kangaroo opens the door. He is surprised to see Peppa and all her family. Kylie, he calls, look who has dropped by. Kylie's little brother, Joey, smiles at George.
Dinosaur,
Says George.
Grrr. Grrr.
Says Joey.
Crocodile.
We are going for a picnic, says Mrs. Kangaroo. Why don't you come along? The picnic spot is a long way away. Mr. Kangaroo has to fly a plane to get there.
We're going to the Outback,
Says Kylie.
I love the Outback,
Snorts Peppa.
What is it?
Mr. Kangaroo explains that the Outback is a very special, magical place. The plane lands at the picnic spot. It is very hot. Mr. Kangaroo gives out bottles of water. Daddy Pig tips a bottle of water all over his head. Ah, nice and cool.
Daddy,
Frowns Peppa.
you should drink it, not splash it around.
Mr. Kangaroo cooks the picnic food on the barbecue.
When we have a picnic, Mrs. Duck always shows up,
Says Peppa. A little brown animal waddles into the sunshine.
When we have a picnic,
Grins Kylie.
Mrs. Duck-billed Platypus always shows up.
After the picnic, there's time for a game of cricket,
You can bat, Peppa.
says Mrs. Kangaroo. Kylie bowls the ball. Peppa hits it with the bat. Whack! Oh dear, the ball has landed in a tree. Daddy Pig lifts Peppa up high. She reaches for the ball.
Oh,
She gasps.
a teddy bear is holding on to it. That's not a teddy,
Giggles Kylie.
that's a koala.
Peppa smiles at the koala. It is very sweet and cuddly. When it gets dark, Mr. Kangaroo flies everyone back home again.
You're staying at our house tonight, Peppa.
Says Kylie.
Yippee!
Snorts Peppa.
I loved our picnic in the Outback.
The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa visits the Great Barrier Reef. Peppa is on holiday in Australia, visiting her friend Kylie Kangaroo.
Wow! I love it at your house, Kylie,
Says Peppa. I could stay here forever, decides Daddy Pig.
It's great having you stay,
Says Mrs. Kangaroo.
but I have to go to work today.
Mrs. Kangaroo is a marine biologist. She studies creatures that live in the sea.
Do creatures in the sea have bridges to swim through and treasure to play with?
Wonders Peppa. No, snorts Daddy Pig. That's just the stuff that people put in fish tanks. Mrs. Kangaroo takes everyone down to the beach. She points to the sea. This, she says, is my office.
How can you work in the sea?
Asks Peppa.
With this submarine,
Says Mrs. Kangaroo. Hop in. The submarine goes down deep under the water. Peppa gasps.
It's all the colours of the rainbow.
That is coral,
says Mrs. Kangaroo. It's made of lots and lots of tiny creatures. We call it the Great Barrier Reef.
Wow!
The coral is very pretty. Peppa would like to take some home. We must never ever take anything away from here, says Miss Kangaroo.
The reef is home to lots of sea creatures,
Explains Kylie.
Look,
Giant Turtle swims up to say hello.
there's a little bridge,
Says Peppa.
just like in the fish tank.
Except there's no treasure chest, of course, chuckles Daddy Pig. George spots something in the sand. Mrs. Kangaroo blinks. It's a chest full of gold coins. George has found a treasure chest. The submarine carefully picks it up.
Wait,
Cries Peppa.
we must never ever take anything away from the reef.
Only natural things, says Miss Kangaroo. These gold coins don't belong here. Mr. Kangaroo loads the treasure chest onto the camper van,
These gold coins will pay for lots more marine research.
says Kylie. Mrs. Kangaroo smiles. That was a good day at the office.
Yes,
Snorts Peppa.
it was.
The end. Peppa throws a boomerang. It is nearly the end of Peppa's holiday. She has been to Australia,
I loved having you stay.
says Kylie Kangaroo. Peppa nods. It has been the best holiday ever. Why don't you play in the garden while we pack? Says Mummy Pig. Peppa, George and Kylie run outside,
I wish we didn't have to go home.
says Peppa.
Don't be sad.
Smiles Kylie.
I've got you a goodbye present.
The present looks like a bendy banana. Peppa opens it up.
It's a thing.
The thing is called a boomerang,
A boomerang is very special.
says Kylie.
If you throw it right, it will come back to you.
Peppa throws the boomerang, but it lands on the grass. Oh, she cries.
It doesn't work. Throw it harder.
Says Kylie. Peppa has another go. She throws the boomerang hard, and it comes back. Mr. Kangaroo runs out to the garden. He loves throwing boomerangs. Watch this, Daddy Pig. He grins. Oh dear, Mr. Kangaroo threw the boomerang hard, but it didn't come back. Hi, Mr. Wallaby, he says. Mr. Wallaby is Mr. Kangaroo's neighbour. The boomerang has gone through his window. Luckily, Mr. Wallaby is a very nice neighbour. Daddy Pig wants to try the boomerang. He throws it up into the air, and it comes back towards him.
That's it, Daddy.
Shouts Peppa.
Catch it.
Crash! Daddy Pig doesn't catch the boomerang. I think we should be going, says Mr. Kangaroo.
Nah.
Says Mr. Wallaby.
Let me show you mates how a boomerang should be thrown.
Mr. Wallaby throws the boomerang as hard as he can. Crash! Mr. Wallaby has now got 3 broken windows. Now it really is time for everyone to be going,
I loved our holiday in Australia.
says Peppa.
Come back again.
Smiles Kylie.
I will.
Promises Peppa.
Just like my boomerang.
The end.
Peppa Pig, Peppa's Australian Christmas. It was Christmas time, and Peppa and her family were flying to Australia to visit Kylie Kangaroo.
Hooray! I can't wait to see Kylie,
says Peppa. Yes, it's going to be a brilliant Christmas staying with the Kangaroo family, said Daddy Pig. You did tell them we were coming, didn't you, Daddy Pig? said Mummy Pig. Replied Daddy Pig. I thought you did. Peppa and her family arrived at Kylie's house on Christmas morning. Hello, Mr. Kangaroo, said Mummy Pig. My goodness, gasped Mr. Kangaroo. You're all here. Again. We've come to spend Christmas with you, announced Daddy Pig. Began Mr. Kangaroo. What an amazing surprise! Kylie bounded over to Peppa.
Happy Christmas,
she cried.
Happy Christmas, Kylie,
said Peppa.
You've arrived just in time,
said Mrs. Kangaroo.
We're off to the beach. The beach,
said Peppa.
On Christmas Day?
Yes, said Mr. Kangaroo. It's hot here at Christmas.
Wow.
Everyone got ready for the beach and hopped into the camper van. Brum. Well, blow me down if it isn't our friends from far away, said Mr. Wallaby when they arrived.
Happy Christmas, Mr. Wallaby,
cried Peppa.
I'm cooking corn on the cob for Christmas lunch,
said Mr. Wallaby. Yum! Everyone cheered.
Christmas on the beach is great,
said Mr. Wallaby.
The only thing that would make it better is snow. Does it snow for your Christmases, Peppa?
asked Kylie.
Yes,
Peppa said proudly.
Sometimes. I've never seen real snow,
said Kylie.
What's it like? It's cold,
said Peppa.
And fluffy, and you can make snowmen. We use sticks for the arms, stones for the eyes and mouth, and a big carrot for the nose.
Wow.
We do the same, said Kylie. But with sand instead of snow.
Yes, said Mr. Kangaroo, clumping some wet sand together. We use sand for the body and head and driftwood for the arms.
Pebbles for the eyes and mouth,
said Kylie.
Wow.
And corn on the cob for the nose, added Mr. Wallaby. Ooh, said Mummy Pig. What could be more Christmassy than that?
Look at that wave,
called Peppa, pointing at a giant wall of water rolling towards the shore. Ho, ho, ho! A voice called from the top of the wave. It was Santa. On a surfboard.
Santa!
gasped the children. Ho, ho, ho! Santa surfed right up onto the beach. Merry Christmas! He cheered, hopping off his surfboard. I've brought presents for Peppa, Kylie, George and Joey.
Merry Christmas, Santa!
cried Peppa and Kylie. Thank you! Everyone was very excited to see Santa. Santa gave Peppa her present. She tore off the wrapping paper.
A spade,
said Peppa.
thank you.
George tore the paper off his present to find a bucket. He jumped up and down.
Bucket!
He cried. First, Peppa used her spade to fill up George's bucket with sand. She patted it down. Then George tipped the sand out.
Ta-da!
He cried.
Isn't it brilliant making a sandcastle on Christmas Day, George?
Said Peppa.
Sandcastle!
Said George, giggling. Sitting in Mrs. Kangaroo's pouch, Joey opened his present. It was a bouncy beach ball.
Wow! Boing, boing!
He cried, throwing it up and down. Then Kylie opened her gift.
Ooh!
She gasped.
It's a...
What is it? Peppa came running over.
It's a snow globe, Kylie!
She explained.
Try
shaking it, said Mr. Kangaroo. Kylie gave her snow globe a shake.
Wow!
Swirly white snowflakes danced around inside it. Struth, that's a wonderful sight, said Mr. Wallaby.
Snow!
Gasped Kylie, amazed.
I've got my own snow!
Now that I've delivered your presents, I think I'll have a paddle, said Santa. He kicked off his boots and walked into the sea. Ho, ho, ho! Lovely and warm, he said. Peppa, Kylie and Daddy Pig went to join him. What could be more Christmassy than paddling in the sea on Christmas Day, said Daddy Pig. I reckon the corn cobs are ready, called Mr. Wallaby. Tuck in.
Delicious,
said Mrs. Kangaroo.
Christmas at the beach is so much fun,
said Kylie.
Yes,
said Peppa.
it's the best.
Peppa and Kylie love Christmas at the beach. Everyone loves Christmas at the beach. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.